Convert decimals to percents and percents to decimals. Percents and decimals. To write a percent as a decimal, first, write the percent as a fraction. Then, write the fraction as a decimal. For example, write 32% as a decimal. We have 32%, which equals 32 per 100. This reads 32 hundredths, which can be written 0.32, 32 hundredths, as a decimal. A shortcut could be move the decimal point 2 places to the left and remove the percent sign. Other examples. 92% is 92 hundredths. 3%, we've moved the decimal point over 2 times, so that is 3 hundredths. 2.5%, you've moved the decimal point over 2 times, so that is 25 thousandths. To write a decimal as a percent, first, write the decimal as a fraction with a denominator of 100. Write the fraction as a percent. Write 7/10 as a percent. First we have 7/10, and we write it as 7/10. Then we write it as an equivalent fraction over 100. That would be 70/100. So 70 per 100 is 70%. Another way to do this would be a shortcut. Move the decimal point 2 places to the right and add a percent sign. Other examples. 34 hundredths is 34%. 2/10, I move the decimal point over 2 spaces to the right to get 20%. For 241 thousandths, I move the decimal point over 2 places to the right to get 24.1 or 24 1/10%. Write each decimal as a percent. Pause the video, solve problems 1 through 6, unpause the video to check your answers. For question number 1, you should have gotten 86%. You simply move the decimal point over 2 places to the right. For question number 2, you should have gotten 80%. You move the decimal point over 2 places to the right. For question number 3, you should have gotten 9% after you move the decimal place 2 places to the right. For question 4, you should have gotten 50.5% after you move the decimal point 2 places to the right. For question 5, you should get 41.5% because you move the decimal point over 2 places to the right. For question 6, you should have gotten 40% after you move the decimal place over 2 places to the right. Write each percent as a decimal. Pause the video, solve problems 7 through 12, unpause the video to check your answers. For question number 7, you should have gotten 8/10. You move the decimal point over 2 places to the left, which would give you 80 hundredths. You can simplify 80 hundredths to 8/10 by dropping the last 0. For question 8, you should get 24 hundredths. 24% is 24 per 100, or 24 hundredths. Also, you can move the decimal point 2 places to the right. question number 9, you should have gotten 16 hundredths. 16% is 16 per 100, or 16 hundredths, which is written 0.16. For question 10, you should have gotten 0.03 or 3 hundredths. We would move the decimal point over 2 spaces to the left, and we would have to add a placeholder. So it would be 0.03. For question number 4, again, we need to move the decimal over 2 places to the left, 1, 2, and add a 0 as a placeholder. So you should have gotten 42 thousandths. For question 12, you should have gotten 924 thousandths after you move the decimal place over 2 places to the left. Solve. Sales tax is 65 thousandths of a dollar where Ray lives. What percent of a dollar is the sales tax? Pause the video, answer the question, unpause the video to check your answer. A dollar is 100 cents. And they're saying here that you have a decimal of 65 thousandths. Okay, so basically we're changing this number to a percent per dollar because that's per 100. So we just simply move the decimal point over 1, 2 spaces to the right. So that would be 6.5%. Now, our sales tax where we live is 6% sales tax. Place the following in order from greatest to least. So please note that this is greatest to least, not least to greatest. Also notice that you have percents, fractions, and decimals. So in order to put these numbers in order, you need to make sure that they are all in the same form. So they either all have to be percents, or they all have to be fractions, or they all have to be decimals. Now, the easiest way to sort will be if you change them all to percentages. And the reason I say that is because this is already a percent, this is already a percent, this is already a percent. And then you have 3 that are very easily changed to percents. So change all of these to percents and then put them in order. Pause the video, solve this problem, unpause the video to check your answer. %63 is already in percent form, so we can just write 63%. 50% is already in percent form, so we can just write 50%. 6.4% is already in percent form, so we can just write 6.4%. 6/10, we're going to move the decimal point over 2 times to the right, and we're going to get 60%. So we're going to go 1, 2, 60%. For 65 hundredths, we're going to move the decimal point over twice, and we get 65%. For 7/10, we can change that to a decimal. Then we can move the decimal point over 2 to the right. And we'll get 70%. Now for 5/8, we are going to have to do some math here. You would do 5 divided by 8, and you would get 625 25 thousandths. And now we need to change that to a percent by moving the decimal over 2 places to the right, which would give us 62.5%. So when you place the following in order from greatest to least, this is what you should get. 7/10 equals 70%. 65 hundredths or 65%. 63%. 5/8 or 62.5%. 6/10 or 60%. 50% or 6.4%. Good work, everyone. Here are the answers for this section.